Imagine a place so far north, it sits closer to the North Pole than to its own nation's capital. A land where the boundaries of civilization and wilderness blur into one. Here, the sun disappears for months at a time, plunging the world into a deep, endless night. The only light comes from the moon, the stars, and the shimmering auroras that dance across the sky, painting the snow in ghostly colors. This is Svalbard, a remote Norwegian archipelago of stark, haunting beauty. It's a place where polar bears outnumber people, where glaciers carve their way through ancient mountains, and where the Arctic wind whispers through frozen valleys. Nestled at the foot of a pyramid-shaped peak lies Pyramiden, an abandoned Soviet coal mining town. Once a symbol of Soviet ambition, it now stands as an eerie relic, perfectly preserved by the Arctic ice, a ghost town frozen in time. Decades ago, over 1,000 people called this place home. They built a utopian community, complete with schools, a grand cultural palace, and even a heated swimming pool, luxuries almost unimaginable in such a remote, inhospitable place. But the dream was short-lived. In 1998, the residents left suddenly, many believing they would soon return. They left behind books on shelves, dishes in cupboards, and personal belongings, everyday life frozen in a moment of departure. The cold, dry Arctic air has preserved the town almost perfectly, turning Pyramiden into a time capsule from the late 1990s. It's as if the clock stopped, and the world outside simply moved on. Walking through Pyramiden is like stepping into a lost world, a place where the echoes of the Cold War still linger. And every building tells a story of hope, struggle, and sudden abandonment. The grand, empty buildings, once filled with laughter, music, and the bustle of daily life, now stand silent, monuments to human ambition and the overwhelming power of nature. The silence here is profound, broken only by the wind and the distant creak of settling ice. The decay of man-made structures is stark against the pristine, untouched Arctic landscape, a reminder of how quickly nature reclaims its own. In these deserted rooms and empty streets, memory lingers long after people have gone. Every forgotten object, every faded photograph, is a testament to lives once lived on the edge of the world. Pyramiden forces us to reflect on the fragility of human communities, the impermanence of our dreams, and the stories that remain long after we are gone. In this haunting, unforgettable corner of our world, the past and present exist side by side, a silent reminder of both human ambition and the enduring power of the Arctic wilderness. The journey to Pyramiden peels away the modern world, stripping you of the familiar comforts and distractions of daily life. As you move deeper into the Arctic, the landscape itself seems to demand your attention, its vastness both humbling and awe-inspiring. The wind scours the land, leaving you with something raw and elemental, a place where nature reigns supreme and every breath feels crisp and new. It begins in Longyearbyen, Svalbard's main settlement, already at the edge of the known world. Here, colorful houses huddle together for warmth, a last outpost of civilization before the wilderness takes over. In summer, you travel by boat through icy fjords, past glaciers and jagged peaks alive with seabirds. The water is a mirror to the sky, broken only by drifting ice and the occasional ripple of wildlife. If you're lucky, you might spot a seal basking on the shore, or even a polar bear, the true monarch of this frozen realm, padding silently along the ice. Hours pass in silence, anticipation building as the landscape grows wilder and more remote. The Arctic's emptiness is profound, a silence so deep it feels almost sacred. Suddenly, Pyramiden appears, its geometric Soviet buildings a stark contrast to the untamed Arctic. The town rises unexpectedly from the wilderness, a relic of human ambition frozen in time. The old port is silent, save for the lapping water and distant bird calls. The stillness is almost haunting, as if the town itself is holding its breath, waiting for visitors to break the spell. Russian guides, the town's only residents, greet you, a living link to the past. Their stories and presence breathe life into the empty streets, connecting you to the generations who once called this place home. The architecture is imposing, built to withstand the elements, yet now vulnerable in its emptiness. Concrete giants stand as monuments to a vanished era, their windows staring blankly into the endless void. Every object and empty room holds a story, a memory of a once thriving community. Soviet relics and faded photographs whisper of lives lived in isolation, of laughter and hardship beneath the northern lights. Entering Pyramiden is a powerful reminder of how quickly life can be reclaimed by silence and solitude. Here, in this frozen utopia, the past lingers in every shadow, and the Arctic's quiet majesty leaves an indelible mark on all who visit. Pyramiden's story began with Swedish prospectors, but it was the Soviets who transformed it. In 1927, the Soviet mining trust Archaeology bought the land, seeing it as both a resource and a strategic Arctic foothold. The Svalbard Treaty allowed the USSR to build a model communist town on Norwegian soil, a bold statement to the world. After Dodo II, the Soviets poured resources into Pyramiden, not for profit, but as a showcase of their ideology. At its peak in the 1980s, over 1,000 people lived here, enjoying a higher standard of living than many back home. The town was meticulously planned, with grand public buildings and lush lawns grown from imported Ukrainian soil. Pyramiden became a carefully constructed bubble of Soviet civilization at the top of the world. Daily life in Pyramiden revolved around the mine, which was the beating heart of the settlement. Every morning, workers would trudge through the snow to the coal shafts, their breath visible in the frigid air, while the rest of the town buzzed with anticipation for the day ahead. But it wasn't all work. There was a vibrant community spirit that brought people together, even in the harshest conditions. Neighbors gathered for celebrations, dances, and movie nights, forging strong bonds that helped everyone endure the Arctic's isolation. The residential blocks themselves had playful nicknames: London for single men, Paris for women, and the Crazy House for families, each building reflecting the unique character of its residents. At the center of town stood the Palace of Culture, a grand building that served as the social and cultural hub. Here, people could escape the monotony of daily routines and immerse themselves in art, music, and performance. Inside, there was a theater for plays and films, a basketball court for friendly matches, and a library filled with Russian literature and magazines. The palace even housed the world's northernmost grand piano, a symbol of culture and refinement in this remote outpost. Children attended their own school and kindergarten, where teachers nurtured curiosity and creativity despite the extreme environment. They learned and played under the magical polar night or the endless daylight of the midnight sun. The Soviets even built greenhouses to grow fresh vegetables and raised livestock to provide food, making life more comfortable and sustainable. Against all odds, they created a lush green lawn in the Arctic tundra, a small patch of summer in a frozen world. Sports teams competed in tournaments, music groups performed concerts, and everyone took part in lively festivals. Social events and winter festivities kept spirits high during the long dark winters, reminding everyone that they were not alone. In this isolated place, community was not just a luxury, it was a necessity for survival and happiness. For its residents, Pyramiden was more than just a workplace. It was a true home, filled with laughter, friendship, and shared dreams. It was a warm bubble of Soviet life in the far north, where people built a unique utopia at the edge of the world. Beneath the surface, Pyramiden's foundations were fragile. The mine was never profitable, kept alive by Soviet subsidies. When the USSR collapsed in 1991, the flow of money and supplies dwindled. Shops emptied, and the sense of security faded. But the community held on, bound by shared history. Then tragedy struck in 1996. A plane carrying mine workers and families crashed, killing 141 people, many from Pyramiden. The loss shattered the town's spirit. Combined with economic collapse, it was the final blow. Archaeology decided to close the mine. The cost of continuing was too high. On March 31, 1998, the last coal was extracted. Over the next months, residents left one by one. By October, the last person departed. Pyramiden fell silent, abandoned to the ice and wind. Today, Pyramiden is a perfectly preserved relic, frozen by the Arctic climate. The cold and dry air have slowed decay. The town looks much as it did in 1998. Walking its silent streets feels like stepping into a photograph. Inside, schoolbooks lie open. Trays sit on tables, and personal belongings remain untouched. Nature is reclaiming the town. Grasses push through concrete, kittiwakes nest on window ledges, and Arctic foxes roam the streets. Polar bears are a constant reminder of the wildness beyond. At the center stands Lenin's statue, gazing toward the glacier, a lonely sentinel over a town where time stands still. Pyramiden is a monument to memory, a place where the past lingers in every corner. Visiting Pyramiden is a moving, carefully managed experience. Guided tours are essential for safety and storytelling. Most visitors arrive by boat in summer or snowmobile in winter. A few stay overnight in the renovated Tulip Hotel. Russian guides share stories and unlock the town's most significant buildings. You can stand on the stage of the Palace of Culture, explore the school, and see the empty swimming pool. The brutalist architecture stands in stark contrast to the sublime Arctic wilderness. Propaganda posters, sports medals, and sheet music remain, creating an intimate connection to the people who once lived here. Walking through Pyramidan is not just observing history, it's stepping into it. Pyramidan is more than empty buildings. It's a vessel of memory, saturated with the hopes and sorrows of its people. The echoes of laughter and applause linger in the silence. The town stands as a lesson in humility, built to last, abandoned in months. It's a memorial to the miners, teachers, families, and the 141 lost in the 1996 tragedy. Nature's slow reclamation is both melancholy and beautiful, a visual poem about the cycle of creation and loss. Pyramidan's soul lies in this paradox, a place of endings that speaks to the enduring power of memory. What draws us to places like Pyramidan? It's a need to connect with the past, to stand in the footprints of history. Exploring such places is an act of empathy, bridging the gap between their time and ours. These forgotten towns are our collective heritage, teaching us about ambition, failure, and the fragility of communities. They remind us to keep our curiosity alive and to seek out the stories hidden at the world's edges. Let Pyramidan's haunting beauty remind you, looking back enriches our present. These journeys aren't about loss, but about perspective and appreciation for our fleeting time. The world is full of ghosts and stories waiting to be heard. All we have to do is listen.